All right, you ready for top five Tom Hanks?
Yes,
All right, let's do this. You want to go first?
yeah, I'll go first.
All
Uh,
right.
so you're gonna hate this, but uh,
Yeah.
my first one is Big.
No, I don't hate it. Actually, that came on TV the other night too.
Did
And
you? You watched it?
I watched like the second half is when I caught it. And
Okay.
it did remind me that yeah, it's a good movie, It's not it's not on my list obviously, but
Yeah, I put it. The only reason I put it on its list was because this, I think, was like the movie that started his career, that launched it. It started launching. He had like different launch pads as he was
mhm,
going along. And
right.
this, I think this was like the initial one because, uh, first of all, he was an adult. Well, more or less. I mean, he was probably what, 22, 23 years old, but he had to act like a little kid.
Yeah. Yeah, it really did show his acting chops in this movie because like you said, up until then he had some comedies like Splash and some of his earlier movies under his belt, but this one did show kind of a range of like just him interacting with adults as a kid was hilarious. And actually when you think about it's not easy to do what he did in that movie.
That wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it showed his diversity
Hmm.
early on,
Yeah.
and I think that's like what put him in other movies that then relaunched his career because
Yeah.
he was in a lot of difficult movies,
Right.
acting movies.
Oh yeah, that and in a way, I guess it kind of launched his dramatic career because there is some drama, arguably, in this movie. Um, just the tension of having to go back to being a kid after he realized he couldn't really hack it as an adult or whatever. But yeah, I mean, the scene where he brings the girl back to his place and she's like ready to have some wine and start kissing him, and he's like, "Let's go on the trampoline." It's like it has some classic stuff for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And then him working in the toy company is really fun. And oh, of course, the iconic scene with him and Robert Loggia dancing on the piano is great.
yeah. The
So
piano scene was like one of the best.
yeah, so yeah, good choice. I don't blame you for putting that one.
Okay,
So yeah, my number five is Saving Private Ryan.
okay.
So
Yeah,
um,
I left those. I left Ryan off, and I left uh, 13 off.
okay, well yeah,
Only because we talked about them in previous episodes.
oh okay.
I'm trying to get like
We
fresh movies in.
I see. Well, yeah, I mean, you can repeat stuff. There's no rule against that. But I mean, as far as and probably I would have listed this higher, but it just isn't one that I rewatch as much. Which I think we've probably even said that on the Spielberg list.
Right.
But
How
truly a
much?
great film.
Yeah. How much of the blood and gore can you actually watch?
Right. Yeah. But yeah, once again, Hanks really, I mean, there were a lot of great actors in the movie, but he really carried the film, the emotional weight of it. Like, the scene where he kind of breaks down and his hand is shaking, throughout the movie, but, really showed that he could be a great leader of these men after like watching Saving Private Ryan right after watching Big, you'd be like, what? But Hanks can do it all, man. This
Yeah.
was mid 90s. Well, by this point, he had already won two Academy Awards, so people weren't surprised by it. But another great performance. The ending where he tells Matt Damon's character, earn this, that really gets me choked up every time. So,
Yeah. He's good, like in everything that he does, which is, so, I mean, it's so hard picking his movie.
for sure. All right. Well,
Yeah. he really gets into the character, which
Yeah.
brings me into number 4,
Okay.
Bridge of Spies.
Ah, okay. Another one that's not on my list, but
Right. And another one where he had like a different acting thing. This this movie is goes back to the Cold War, which
mhm,
actually I lived through. You did not.
right.
Uh, and it has to do with a spy exchange.
Yep.
But Hank is not even in the government,
Right.
and he's asked to negotiate this spy swap.
Yeah.
And it's on this, the bridge that connects the two Berlins, East Berlin from West Berlin, and that's
hmm
what they call it, the Bridge of Spies. But anyway, so he's not comfortable with doing this. He's a lawyer,
Right.
and he's never done this before, and he has all these fears and all these anxieties, in doing this, and he constantly questions himself whether or not he's going to be able to do this or not.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other spy played by Mark Rylance was really good in the movie too. But and it was cool how they kind of become close through the situation and almost more like allies than enemies.
Yeah, I
So
mean, there was a line at the spy. He said to the spy, he goes, "Aren't you worried?" And then he comes back and says, uh, "Would it help?"
yeah, right. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Yeah, but another great Hanks performance for sure. Like you said, there's really not a bad Hanks performance. So I wonder how many we'll have in common on this one. Probably just two again.
Well, we had 3 last time. That was our
Yeah,
record.
right. Yeah. All right. Well,
Well,
this one, I
if I kept in the ones I said I took out, then we probably would have had like 4 in common.
yeah, probably. All right. Well, yeah, I don't think you'll have this on your list. My number 4 is The Money Pit.
I knew you were going to have that. I thought it would be number 5. I didn't think you would have it as number 4.
Yeah, this movie, man, I've probably seen it like a million times. The comedy bits that are just classic never get old for me. Like when the bathtub falls through the floor, and then Hanks is just laughing crazily, and then when he's on the stairs and they're falling apart, and he's hanging from the thing, and she steps on his feet.
Yeah, that's a
I mean,
classic scene.
so many
That's
great.
a scene I remember.
Yeah, the movie is as a whole is kind of stupid, but I mean, it's just and going through a situation personally, selling an older house that we ended up having to fix so many things. It actually we watched that movie a lot during that time and made us feel better. So it has a personal thing for me. I kept calling our house the money pit, but yeah, he's just so funny in that movie. I love it. So what's your number 3?
My 3 originally was Apollo 13,
Okay,
but I'm changing it to Phillips.
Captain Phillips.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I thought he was really good in that. The way that he took control of the situation when the pirates boarded the ship and everything. The way he planned it ahead of time, hit his crew, then he was calming down the pirates, and
yeah,
how he eventually let for their capture.
yeah,
Like how he convinced the guy to do this, do that. Well, I thought the acting in that was like really, really good.
I have to check and see. I don't remember if I've seen the whole movie or not. I may have just seen parts of it, but I remember kind of like that Saving Private Ryan scene I mentioned, like at the end of the movie, he really showed he had gone through the trauma, and you really bought his performance.
Yeah, it was like the same thing with the end on that one too.
Yeah,
Uh, I mean, he he got the pirate to put him and the pirate in the lifeboat, and then he was able to uh, communicate oddly to the military on where he was,
yeah, yeah.
uh,
Amazing story.
so that he got rescued. I'm trying not to say,
Yeah, yeah, whatever.
working around it.
I'm sure most of our fan base has seen most of these movies, so
Yeah, okay.
whatever.
Yeah, so that the sniper would shoot, the pirate instead of shooting him.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He had to get to a certain location
Yeah.
inside the thing because they really couldn't see that much in there. They were using like the heat,
Hmm.
reviewing things and stuff like that. But it
Yeah.
was and you could see he's sweating,
Right.
like really nervous. I mean, he pulls the stuff off. I mean, he
Yeah.
makes it like really, really, really believable.
Yeah. And I mean, he's pretty much like an everyman, everybody can relate to him in some way. And
Yeah.
that's that.
Whereas Apollo 13, I was picking it because of his coolness under pressure.
Right.
And but still, I think he did better in
Hmm.
Phillips than he did in.
Okay. Well, neither of those are on my list. So this just shows. So now we know we're not going to have maybe two in common, but we'll see.
Maybe not even that.
Maybe not.
No, I think we might have two.
All right. Well, my number three is Castaway.
Oh, you did Castaway.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, this man, talk about an amazing performance. I mean, him and a volleyball for 90% of the movie. And, I mean, Robert Zemeckis did an amazing job directing it too, I think. It's,
Just the part like him taking out the tooth.
yeah. Oh man. Yeah, exactly. And then the weight loss that he had to, which
Yeah,
I'm sure he probably put on a bit of weight to begin with.
yeah. Right after
And
that,
yeah, and then to see him, spearing fish and stuff with the long hair after time had passed. And then I really like the first time I saw it, I didn't care as much for the plot, like with him and Helen Hunt. But then the more times you see it, the more I appreciate that part of the story. And like if that really happened in real life, it was realistic in the fact that they bury him and then gave him a funeral, and he's like, "You buried me? What?" So, but yeah, and I like the ending too, where it leaves you kind of hanging for a hopeful ending, hopefully for his new life.
yeah.
But yeah, great movie. So, all right, we'll have to see if our two and one have in common.
So number two, this could have gone either way between one and two, but I think this was more a two. Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Wow. All right. I like it. Yeah, that did not make my list, but and this could have been a father-son movie too, now that I think about it.
Actually, it could have been. I just, to me, it was just amazing how he took over the role of Mr. Rogers.
Definitely.
How he actually, I mean, people always imitated Mr. Roberts,
Yeah.
everybody had a Mr. Roberts impression. I'm not a
Right.
good impressionist, so I'm not even going to do mine
Ex-
to do all the way he goes.
yeah.
Yeah, that like real
Exactly.
common thing. But I think the thing that impressed me more was uh, the way he turned things around. The reporter was supposed to be uh, interviewing him,
Right.
but he was actually interviewing the reporter,
Yep.
and it wasn't, and it was mostly just so he could help the reporter.
Exactly.
He did it with that calming, calming demeanor and meditating. The part that we just said, that he wanted to take a moment of silence.
That's my
And
favorite part of the movie. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
It,
Yeah.
I thought that, when the movie was totally not what I expected when
Same
I went
here.
to that movie. And it was very heartwarming, that
Oh
movie.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. Actually, that was one of my favorite movies of the year. I guess that was last year. But yeah, I mean, Hanks was amazing. He injected kind of a new a life into Mr. Rogers that I hadn't thought of, and it did show. It was a great testament that Rogers was the real deal. Like he really lived, practiced what he preached, and but yeah, Hanks. It wasn't just an impression or a caricature of him. He really embodied him, and yeah, that part of him just like looking right into the camera and having silence in that moment was really cool. Of course, like him praying by name for people every night, and the relationship between the father and son, and then Hanks coming into it. Was really cool. Like at the end, what he asked the father to do for him was really cool too. Yeah, I love that movie. So that's really cool. You put it on your list. It didn't even make mine. So we're probably only going to have one in common, I'm guessing.
I'm guessing, yeah. Well, we're only
Okay.
down to one. I haven't
Yeah.
heard you two yet.
So my two, you're going to probably flip out on this one, is The Burbs.
Oh, God.
This movie has so much rewatchability for me. It's not just Hanks, it's like the whole cast. Bruce Dern was hilarious in this movie. Corey Feldman, even. Carrie Fisher played the wife. But it was directed by Joe Dante, who did Gremlins. And it definitely has that kind of whacked out sense of humor about the neighbors. It's basically a spoof on like Rear Window by Hitchcock, but
Yeah.
I think Hanks is so funny in this, like the scene where he kind of plays the straight guy, but all the situations they find themselves in, like when they're actually going over the fence and breaking into the neighbor's house and stuff, it's just crazy. And the neighbors played by Henry Gibson and Brother Theodore are hilarious. Like when they ask him if I can't remember what the question is, but Brother Theodore goes, "No," and Bruce Dern says, "That's about a 9 on the tension scale, Rube." I use that line in everyday life. So yeah, I love The Burbs. You remember we saw it in the theater together when it came out.
Yeah. And we watched it a couple of times, on
Yeah.
the House in Salem.
Yeah. I think I was around 10 when it came out, so that probably played a big factor in it because it's almost more of a kids movie when you think about it. But I remember like at that time, especially being into like reading murder mystery books and stuff. So it was really I thought a fun, creative movie at the time.
Yeah, I'm
So.
gonna have to get some of these movies again.
Yeah.
The Burbs may be like a really good movie for the kids when they come down and stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. They would love it.
I've had them watch Gremlins. Speaking of, you know,
Yeah,
a like really good kid movie. I've watched that movie so many times.
yeah,
Not
for
that I
sure.
think that Tom Hanks, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, cool. Okay, so number one, I'm hoping we have the same movie. So
Yeah,
let's
we have
go
to.
one, two, three. Forrest Gump. Yeah, of course.
I mean, this was, you know, I gotta say, the person was like mentally challenged,
Yeah,
and he did all these things, and he
yeah,
did them so well. Yeah,
yeah.
ping pong championship,
Right.
like stock market,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. The shrimp
Vietnam,
boat captain.
yeah, Vietnam, hero.
Yeah. Yeah, I
You
love
know,
how he pops up in every scenario that you can imagine through the, from the 50s through the 80s, basically. It takes place over 4 decades. But, and then when he's running and everyone's following him like he's a
yeah,
messiah.
he's running across country. And like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Such a good
And
movie.
then, of course, the favorite line in the movie that nobody can ever forget.
Yeah.
Life is like a box of chocolate.
You never know what you're gonna get. Yeah. So great. But yeah, every sequence is great. Like this is really a testament to Zemeckis as a director too, but like the Vietnam sequence is awesome. Like I would even consider if we ever do a top 5 Vietnam movies, I would consider Forrest Gump on the list just because of how good that segment of the movie is. His relationship with Bubba, that guy is hilarious, talking about all the different kinds of shrimp, and the battle scene where he has to save all the people, like carrying them individually out. Gary Sinise as Lieutenant Dan is awesome in the movie, having the no legs, which was high tech back in the 90s. The CGI that they use for that. But yeah, I mean, definitely one of the greatest movies of all time. And Hanks, he won the Oscar. Oh, I did want to mention a shout out to the other movie he won the Oscar for the year prior, which is Philadelphia. I thought about putting that on my list, but I don't come back to that movie because it's so depressing.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw Philadelphia.
What? You got to
Yeah, I
see that,
know.
man. Him and Denzel Washington are both amazing in that movie. But yeah, I mean, Forrest Gump, man. So, okay, we have one in common. So this is going to be crazy to make our
And we're
combined
both in
list.
number one.
Yeah, so obviously Forrest Gump is our number one.
Right.
So now,
We'll have to make our number two movies 2 and 3.
yep. So I think I got to give you a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood at number 2 because the Burbs, I know that it wouldn't be ranked as high on Letterboxd. So we'll put the Burbs at number 3. So now our threes have to duke it out. So we got Castaway and Captain Phillips. Do you want me to check Letterboxd?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let's see. Let's see how fast I can do this. So Castaway has a 3.8. I'll bet it's going to be close. Captain Phillips has 3.7. So, all right, we got Castaway at 4, Captain Phillips at 5. That's actually a really good list.
Yeah, it is.
I really got to check and see if I've seen Captain Phillips or not. But yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, you should see it. I mean, and then, there's movies that we didn't even mention. Scully.
Yeah, sure.
I personally like all his Dan Brown movies.
Oh, right. I'm surprised you didn't put any on there.
Yeah, I was gonna put him as number 5 as a collective,
Uh-huh.
The Da Vinci Code, Inferno, and something Angels.
Oh yeah, Angels and Demons.
Yeah, Angels and Demons. I was going to put them on. And then there's also one that you always forget about because it's not a dramatic role for him. But he plays Woody in Toy Story.
That's very true. Yeah, I did think of that, but yeah, I didn't put it on my list. But yeah, definitely, those are some of the best Pixar movies, the Toy
Yeah,
Story series.
I mean, they always get like really high rate, like
Yeah,
4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5.
exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not just him, but I
Yeah,
mean, Woody's one of the main characters that's been there ever since
right.
the beginning and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Now with the Toy Story 4, but
Exactly. Yeah. One other shout out I want to say is Catch Me If You Can, the one with him and DiCaprio that Spielberg directed.
yeah, I know
Because
you like that movie. I was
yeah,
thinking about it, but there was too many other movies.
yeah, oh yeah. Well, yeah. The only reason I mention it is because it kind of showed a different side to Hanks that we hadn't seen before. He kind of plays a dick in the movie a little bit.
And
Uh,
everything that, most of the movies that I picked are, except for the number one movie, are all movies that he's done recently.
yeah,
It's like he gets even better and better with age.
yeah,
And it's like, you know, it's not like where he's on his like high horse and goes, now I don't have to like, you know,
did even try anymore. Yeah,
my name, alone will suffice to bring the people in.
right.
But like he did with, a beautiful day in the neighborhood,
Exactly.
and all the work that he put in to do that movie.
Yeah.
That was obvious from the production and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, all right. Well, let's read the combined list off here. This is good. All right, here we go. Top 5 Tom Hanks movies of all time. At number 5, Captain Phillips. At number 4, Castaway. At number 3, The Burbs. At number 2, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. And at number 1, Forrest Gump.
So, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, good list. I definitely recommend these to anybody. So, yeah, check it out. So now, what is our topic for next week? Is the question.
Oh, God, I know.
So we've done 2 actors now. We've done 2 genres. We've only done 1 decade and 1 director. So I think we should do one of those again, probably. You want to try top 5 movies of the 70s since we did 60s last time?
Oh, God. The thing is with like doing the top decades or like you want me to do another 60 shout out?
Yes, 70s shout outs this time.
It's just hard to narrow it down because
Yeah,
there's so many good genres in that decade.
I know.
It's
Yeah.
it's not that it's difficult. It's just that for our listeners,
Yes.
to go through something like the 70s when you've got probably like 100 movies that you could put in your top 5,
Yeah.
that you're only doing 5 of those top 100s that could be in there. It's difficult that way. But if you choose to want to do the 70s, I mean, we can do the 70s.
All right. All right. Cool. Yeah. I
Or,
think,
or we could do something further back because then neither one of us have seen too many of those movies.
yeah, we could, instead of going forward, we could go backward and do the 50s.
We could do the 50s, yeah.
All right. Yeah, we could do 50s. That's cool.
Okay.
I've been actually trying to go even further back in case we get to it eventually.
I know you
Uh,
were telling me about it.
Watching some
I'm
silent
sorry.
films and yeah, 20s and 30s stuff. So I'll be ready when we get to it. I hope. But
Yeah, 'cause I think I've probably only seen two silent movies.
oh wow. All
Yeah.
right. Well, yeah, there's a lot of good ones, especially I kind of tend to like Buster Keaton even more than Charlie Chaplin, um, but Chaplin's got some great ones too, for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. Well, yeah, top five 50s then. It's on.
Okay, it's on.
Should be easier to narrow down than the 70s. So,
You think so?
for me anyway. All right, sounds good then. Well, I will. I'll put this up, and we will see you on the next one. Be sure everybody to subscribe and like and all that stuff. And if you want to check out my music top fives, you can check out Johnny Radio on YouTube as well. You have any other channels for yourself?
No, I don't.
All right. Well, sounds good. Enjoy your fourth.
Okay, you too.
All right. Love you.
Love you too.
All right. Bye.